Alright my friends, my name is Jack Billings, CEO and founder of Shed Knives, and today we're going over most of the 2025 Shed Knives collection here in the field. So, I have to say, I feel like I have to be a little quiet in terms of my surroundings. If you listen, are they gonna do it? There you go. You can hear the birds and the bugs and everything out here, and it's just one of those things where it's like you're in a library and it's like, I like this. You just want to respect that. So let's get into the video, and I'm gonna go over 5 knives today. We're gonna start with some of the smaller knives. We're gonna work all the way up to the bigger knives like the Momentum. Let's start off with knife number 1. This is the 2025 Shed Knives US Tonto, and this blade specifically, you're looking for a slicing knife, a tactical style knife. Let me tell you, this is the one to go with. And why is that? Well, it's because of how this blade shape is. Sometimes our cutting capabilities, slicing capabilities, or chopping capabilities come down to how our grind is, how our blade shape is, and you'll see a variety of different blade shapes as we go on here. But the US Tonto specifically, this has a very nice sharp flat grind there, specifically a saber flat grind, and a lot of people like to use this knife as a tactical carry. They like to put it on their plate carrier, on their belt, that sort of thing. So this knife, fantastic. Number 2, we're gonna go with the Resilience, and this Resilience is in Coyote Tan G10. And just so you know, all of these knives are gonna share a few similarities. They're gonna have a Kydex sheath like this here. They're gonna have 154 cm steel, G10 scales, and jimping, sharpening choil, lanyard hole. They all share a lot of the same similarities, just different blade shapes, really just different areas where these knives thrive in. So yes, they share a lot of similarities. It makes these knives easier to produce than if I had completely different things for every single model, and it allows you to find something you like, and then those similarities are shared across the rest of the collection. So let's move on. This Resilience here, this has another flat grind as well, and this has a bit of a belly to it. Now, why the Resilience? A lot of people like this knife for hunting, skinning game, processing animals in the field, because you can choke up on this knife right here. You can use a jimping right here, and that way you can just really get in. You can do fine whittling, carving, that sort of thing. And this handle, this blade shape, all of it together, this blank, you could say, it just has a very ergonomic feel to it, a very just solid feel. And that's why I designed this knife. I designed it with this weird looking blade shape, so that way it just molds to your hand, it fits in your hand so well, so that way whatever you're working on, this knife is going to stay in. Now, just a quick tip with the sheath. A lot of sheaths, they just go straight in, straight out. This one kind of works like this, okay? So when you push it in, it's gonna, you see how it rolls with the blade, then it just clicks. Same thing pulling it out, just want to roll it a little bit. Some people get stuck up on this little notch right here, and the reason is so that way when you have it on your belt, you can't just pull it straight out or pull it straight down, so that way, specifically if it's hanging upside down, it doesn't just drop out. So make sure you hear that click and you're good to go. Next, the sheep's foot. This one is possibly one of my favorites, and I gotta say, the skewer is my favorite, which is not in this video, but the skewer is my favorite, the Tuatar is my favorite, but the sheep's foot might just truly be my favorite. And why is that? Well, this is probably every single knife here in the video in this one, and this was actually the very first production knife model I had ever made, and this released back in 2018. This knife has gone through 8 changes, 8 variations, 8 different models, and that way the 2025 Shed Knives Sheep's Foot is by far the best version yet, the best design, has the most updates on it, and it's just such a solid knife. Once we start getting into these larger knives like the Sheep's Foot and bigger, they just start to feel even more solid. The knives, they all have just under 1/4 inch 154 cm steel. They're all heat treated in-house to 58 Rockwell, so this is one chunk of a piece of steel. And I wish I brought some paper with me, because otherwise I would just show you how slicey these things are, but just gonna have to take my word for it, or you can go to a different video and watch me cut paper there. Now let's talk about these scales. These scales are in Skewer Orange G10, and they come with an ivory white liner. The ivory white or ivory G10 liner is to sort of remember where Shed Knives came from. Shed Knives started in a shed, believe it or not, and as the knives start to look more and more production made, more and more like quality, just higher detail, higher attention to detail, and they start to look less and less like they're made in a shed. And as it happens, I don't want people to forget the roots, where Shed Knives started, why we started Shed Knives. And the reason is, I started Shed Knives so that way everybody, or at least most people, could have access to high quality 100% USA made knives. Yes, 100% USA made, 100% USA materials, and it's all done in-house. Alright, so if you like knives, you can go to shedknives.com, but that's not the point. The point is, all of these knives are under $250. All of them. This knife, the Resilience, is $141, shipped to your door, free USA shipping. This is $198, so under $200, and free USA shipping. These knives at other companies would be $300, $350, maybe even $450 depending on the brand, and I just don't see a reason in that. Obviously, I can make a little bit more profit in each knife if I had those high prices, but what benefit does that give to you? You'd still be getting the same knife. Nothing would be changing except how many digits are out of your account. So I want to try and save you guys a few dollars while being able to give you a 100% USA made knife. Another thing is, most companies do not have a community. Most companies, they just sell a knife and that's that. At Shed Knives, we are building the movement, the Shed Knives movement, and that's a community full of people who enjoy bettering themselves, bettering their communities, and the world as a whole. And what better thing than that? What better community can you be involved in than that? Because that's pretty significant. So I will say this, if you want to support Shed Knives, if you want to keep the lights on and keep the camera rolling, and if you want to support further, I encourage you to go to shedknives.com, where you can check out cool knives like this 2025 Shed Knives Sheep's Foot and the rest of the 2025 collection, where you'll see all 8 models. So if you want to join the movement, which if you're a winner, you'll join, then I encourage you to do that today. There's a link in the description, but let's keep going with the video. Tuatara. The Tuatara is a larger version of the Sheep's Foot, and I'll go ahead and scale this up for you, or show you the scaled up version. And it's a very similar handle style, just I made the handle bigger. I scaled the handle up. So here we have the Sheep's Foot scales and the Tuatara scales. You can see the general design is the same, it's more the size. So the Tuatara, you get all of the great features in the Sheep's Foot, like we have this strong tip retention there. What I did on the Tuatara, I elongated that so that way you have more of a slicey point, because if you're doing a lot of prying, chopping, that sort of thing, you'll want to use this style, where if you're doing just general camp use stuff, then this is the knife you want. It's a little bit larger, get a little bit bigger handle there. They both have the finger notches there, so that way your hand does not slide over that blade. Ouch, that would be really painful. So that's why I put the finger notch there. You can also turn the knife around, do a reverse grip. So boom, somebody wants to come out of the woods here, we're ready to go. So anyways guys, these are very similar knives. The Tuatara came from the sheep's foot. They were inspired by it. And I want to take the time to show you the Kydex sheath. So let's pop this in. Hear that nice snap. Let's do it again. The reason for that pop is so the knife does not come out. What I like to do when I get one of these knives, specifically the Tuatara and the sheep's foot, I don't really carry a lot of the larger knives like this last one you'll see on a daily basis. I'll bring that more into the field and go from there. But on a daily basis, sheep's foot, Tuatara, those are great knives. What I'll do, I'll take the clip, I'll flip it upside down, and I'll wear it on my belt like that. So that way I can just pull the knife out and I'm ready to go. Actually, I flip the clip to the other side and turn it upside down. So I just adjust as much as possible. So I have this locking design so that way your knife does not drop on your leg. Because again, that would be painful, that would be bad. And we want to keep the knife cutting the right stuff. So that's why I have this little groove right there. So boom, you just pull it out and it clicks right in. There's also another feature, another little spot. These top two components also help bring the knife in. So sometimes you'll see little lines. These are very minor, guys. It's just a piece of plastic. So you'll see little lines on the G10, and that is from this part of the sheath clicking in to the knife. So you'll see that, and it locks right in. By the way, guys, just to confirm, all of this stuff is done in-house. The Kydex sheath is done in-house. The blank, the knife blank, I mill that in-house. I do the grinds in-house. Literally everything is done in-house, and that's something not a lot of companies can say. A lot of knife companies outsource. They use other manufacturers, they use other stuff, and hey, good on them. If they want to do that, then that's up to them. I just know the quality that I can provide, and that is a lot better than really anybody else. And that's why if you look at any of the Shed Knives boxes, you'll see there is no substitute. It's written in there. It's in the sticker. It's in the logo. There is no substitute to Shed Knives, and that simply is a fact. So let's move on to our last knife here, and that, my friends, is the 2025 Shed Knives Momentum. This is a big blade. I actually had to get bigger boxes to fit the Momentum, and when I first made the Momentum, I was thinking, oh, I don't think this bigger box is gonna fit, but thankfully it did. So as you can see, the thing is like jumbo. I look tiny compared to it at that angle, but wow, let's check this out. So here we are, Momentum. You will notice that some knives have a little bit lighter finish, some have a darker finish. The darker finish is from the in-house heat treat. I used to have another company do the heat treat, and they had a little bit lighter finish to it. But like I said, now everything is in-house, and I've brought more and more in-house. Heat treat was really the last thing to bring in. And so as I phase knives out, the knives with the previous heat treat, those will be going out and will be replaced with the new in-house heat treat. But I only have a few of those knives left, like literally 3, I think, and this is one of them. So let's talk about the Momentum. Well, first off, we have the sheer size of this thing. We have a massive set of G10 scales, G10 handles on this, and I really like how these feel. I've never been a fan of the hump in the handle. I don't find that like necessary in a lot of knives, but how this one fits on my hand, I love it. It just fits really well. The scales are nice and smooth, but have enough texture where your hand is not just gonna fling off of there. So this is just really nice to hold, and my thumb just automatically goes to the jimping, which is right here. For reference, the jimping is 1/8 of an inch, so this is pretty serious jimping. This, if it was sharpened, could be a serration, so it's pretty serious there, but it's smooth enough on your finger however you're going to hold this thing. So we have a nice clip point as well, and clip points are just really versatile blade styles. Think about the Buck 110. The Buck 110 is a clip point, and they have sold thousands and thousands and thousands of those knives, and they're just good blades. So that's part of why I'm using the clip point on here, because it's just a good knife. It's just a good blade style, and paired with the big lanyard hole, that's right, the big lanyard hole. This, on all of the knives, it can be a self-defense feature. Sometimes you don't need to stab somebody, you don't need to slice, you just use this, knock some sense into somebody. Now, although that's not the core purpose, it's more so you can attach large things like a D-ring, line, rope, all of that stuff. Some people don't like it, but that's fine. There's other companies out there for you, and probably made in China. But if you like 100% USA stuff and knives that are meant for function, built for function, not necessarily style. Yeah, they look good, but they're built for function, folks. That's a lot of F's. Built for function, folks. So, anyways, guys, this is the Momentum. We have a nice Kydex sheath here. Again, versatile clip. Click that right in there, and you're good. So, anyways, guys, this has been my top 5, or really just the top 5 knives that you can get from Shed Knives. And I encourage you to go, again, shedknives.com. Join the movement today. Join the community of thousands of people, and all the people who carry their knives on a daily basis, who carry Shed Knives specifically on a daily basis. I encourage you guys to do that. If you like knives, hit the follow, hit the like button, and if you have any thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, whatever it may be, drop it down in the comments. I'm happy to hear it, happy to see what's on your mind, guys. So that brings me to the end of the video. If you like knives, go to shedknives.com, and my name is Jack. I make knives, and I'll see you in the next one.